Hi, I want to take you on a brief road trip, if you will, to show you a unique, secret way boards of smaller associations are growing their organization without it becoming a second job for them. Hey, did you realize that it's possible to have a functioning and thriving association where revenues and memberships are growing, where great services are offered to your members, conferences are planned out for you, professional development opportunities for members are created, your membership is growing, and the association is a respected voice to government and stakeholders, and you don't need to rely solely on board volunteers burning them out? Hiring professional management doesn't need to burn out the association's finances. And what's more, you don't have to wait for that magical day when finally you'll have enough revenues to increase your staffing capabilities. Now, I know this sounds crazy because we're so used to hearing about how having a thriving association with great member services requires having a very healthy operating budget with high-paid staff. And while that is important, I'm going to share with you 3 secrets with you today that are going to revolutionize the way you and your board colleagues will view how their vision and plans for the future can be operationalized and get your association out of the constant dilemma of not having enough money to offer improved member services, but yet needing to offer these services to justify member fees. I'm Mark Buzan, and I'm an association growth hacker who has specially helped small associations get out from out the hamster wheel you see here. So what is it exactly that I've discovered that helps association boards get over their next hump? Well, it's actually akin to an iceberg. You see, where in reality, what most people see when they think of a nonprofit are big events, services, and influence in their sector, all supported by high-end budget. But the real work, however, for small boards is how they are secretly strategically viewing themselves and they're allocating their resources for maximum impact. And it's actually below the waterline here, you see. And again, the truth and the beauty of what they do is that they found that their association can grow its revenues and membership, and it can offer the same services larger established associations offer as well. So I'm going to share with you the 3 secrets about a unique yet unorthodox way nonprofit boards can growth hack their memberships, revenues, and services, and how you as a board can be as much as 10 times more profitable than volunteer or staff-only associations. And it offers a unique and symbiotic benefit regardless of whether you're 100% volunteer-driven or even if you have a small staff. You see, it's even particularly if you're volunteer-driven, it relieves the burden on volunteers and ensures continuity as they come and go. And even for associations with a small team or perhaps a soon-to-retire executive director, it offers extended capabilities of a larger team on the same or similar budget of what they're used to paying for traditionally their staff. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. This sounds too good to be true. And how is this going to cost? How much is this really going to cost? And is this just going to be a consultant handing us another report? But if you can, I'm just going to ask you to please just hang in there with me. I'm going to show you a great way that your board can get to its next level of performance without breaking the bank and get amazing results. So for the first secret is that really the truth of the matter is volunteer power alone is only going to get you so far. The big idea is that professional management really does ensure that operations of the association don't become the second job of board members and burn them out. This is really important because you need to remember that volunteers are first and foremost volunteers. And in my studies of numerous boards, the number one challenge they face is executing on strategy and maintaining the necessary continuity to keep up the momentum as their professional and personal lives pull them in different directions. Now, this is especially the case as the most dedicated volunteers eventually need to move on to other aspects of their lives, leaving the board, of course, at some point in time. The boards that have caught on have realized the secret for them to eventually getting off of the hamster wheel I was mentioning earlier, between up and down spurts of things getting done and not getting done, is in delegating the operational details to the professionals in association management, while leaving the board to the task of what motivated them to volunteer in the first place. a passion for strategy in making their profession or industry a better place. We've yet to encounter a single board member who gets excited for volunteering the time to do the minutes. Now, the second secret is that in hiring someone as a staffer, or especially waiting until your association has the revenues needed to hire a part-time or full-time employee, isn't always the best option either. The main thing to understand is that as an organization, an employee's salary isn't exactly the only expense you got to consider. You have benefits, and in the very minimum, government remittances as well. And in Canada, where I'm from at least, the bare minimum without benefits is at least 1.4 times salary on the low end of things, paying a full-time executive and director. And if you're paying a full-time executive or director, even on the low end of that, let's say $70,000 annually, that's an extra $28,000 annually for a total of $98,000 you're paying for this person, and you haven't even yet paid for benefits, insurance, and the multitude of other office overhead the board is responsible for. Now, in the United States, and of course this varies from where you get it, but I've heard it to be as much as 7.6 times salary. Now, this means as well that you can be that as a board member, you're also held to all the legal and fiduciary responsibilities of an employer, when if you're like most board members I come across, all you're really interested in is volunteering your time. Now, the third secret is that smaller associations who've overcome the hump have become entrepreneurial and they've outsourced actually their operations. They've gotten past the idea that in order for them to advance, they must personally be the one who issues the employment contract. Now, this is key again because independent studies have shown that as much as a 20% savings can come about from outsourcing, maybe even more. And these same studies have shown that in some instances, as much as a 10 times growth in profitability is possible as well for small associations. And when you're a nonprofit that's budget mindful, this is all the more important when you need to get creative on ways of how you're going to grow. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's a simple issue that maybe we just can simply resolve by going out and recruiting more volunteers so we can spread out the workload. Or maybe you're thinking, well, you know what? Let's just find somebody within the profession who's working part-time or who's getting close to retirement, and they can pick up the slack on an on-the-side contract. Well, the tricky thing is that the real truth behind this reaction is that maybe you're wondering, how can someone from outside possibly understand the unique nature of our membership, our profession, or our industry? But in truth, this is actually the wrong question. Rare is it that the staff of a medical association will be diagnosing patients at their office. Rare is it that the staff of a manufacturing association will be assembling parts in their office. But what they do need to know are the fundamental tenets of what makes for a successful membership association or nonprofit organization. The real truth is that most successful associations across a broad spectrum of professions, trades, and causes are made up of teams that possess all or more of these major competencies. And yeah, I'm sure whoever you have in mind may be very competent, but is it reasonable to expect them to have all the competencies needed all wrapped up in one person, particularly if their main frame of reference wasn't necessarily in managing an association? Just to pick an example here of some examples here, you have to be really effective planning in administrative services, chapter support services, convention and event management services, marketing and public relations, financial and bookkeeping services, community outreach services, government relations and governance support, educational services, member services, on-demand advice, technical advice, and IT, and in managing a member database. And the list goes on and on. The list of everything that needs to be done, the skill set and experience needed, can be overwhelming, frankly, for someone who's new to running an association. And so, I've hacked a small way that small associations can grow, get past the operational bottlenecks so many of them face, all while putting together a unique and yet tried and tested way to cover off all of these core competencies. And with this unique model of outsourcing your operations, you can combine the best of both worlds with the affordability of volunteer-only models and the dedicated experience and skill set of a fully staffed association. This model, our executive director, our company is also known as an AMC. Now, what makes this option so unique is that it offers small associations the best of both worlds without the financial and legal risks that come with having your own staff. Now, associations that are AMC supported understand the unique dynamic of nonprofits, offer cost-effective extensions of the will of the volunteer board members, and they can also bring to bear multiple team members and other resources that are shared across a small number of associations to offer economies of scale, all for a small monthly retainer, and in some cases, even a flat commission of revenues generated. You see, what the issue here comes down to as well is that this is going to give you, frankly, a situation wherein you're relieving the burden on volunteers, growing the association's revenues and membership. You're offering associations like yours the resources only bigger associations can afford. It allows board members like yourself to be focused on the passion that drove them to volunteer in the first place, and as a result, increase volunteerism in your organization. Now, what my team does is that we right-size your staffing, all while and scaling up and down as necessary, all within and sometimes less than what you'd normally pay for staff and other overhead. And this means staffing and services are customized to meet each of the individual organization's needs. The boards that work with us benefit from really a broad spectrum of expertise covering off all the disciplines required to run an effective association, day-to-day and ongoing staff management, alleviating administrative headaches and often faced by association boards of directors, improved staffing and resource allocation, giving each association access to specialized resources, just what you need, when you need it, and proven best management practices, as well as best-of-class resources and technologies. In fact, our small team of 4 combines the basic needs of everything an organization needs: an executive director and myself, an events manager, bookkeeper, an event and member services coordinator, all who can provide the association the 4 essential elements every association needs to survive and thrive. Now, we've got over 40 years of combined nonprofit experience together. So what I've done, really, is that I've created a comprehensive concierge service that's customizable to your board's and operational needs and budget to guide your board on the road to association success. It starts with a free assessment for you and your board, where we'll go over all the aspects of your strategy, finances, membership, governance, and any other important factors you feel might be causing you bottlenecks. And what's more is that if we decide together that it's worth exploring a more of a relationship together, we take the risk completely off you and your board, and if for whatever reason you're not happy or you don't think this is going to work out for you, you can cancel before the end of 60 days, and those 60 days will be completely free. No questions asked. Frankly, if we can't offer you add value, then we really don't deserve your money. Plain and simple. So to move on to the next step, you need to click on the link below where you can book a no-obligation call to see if this would make sense for your association. I honestly don't know how much longer we can keep this offer of a 60-day trial available, and prices will likely go up because we just can only offer a concierge service to a limited number of associations. As such, it's really, really important here that your fellow board members are on the call as well, or at least your executive committee members. So click on the link to get in today while it's still available. We're always here to help, and I can't tell you the amazing results we've gotten for small association boards just like yours who are struggling with volunteer burnout, diminishing revenues, or they're just not being able to get past the most common bottlenecks nonprofit boards face. We also have a facilitated 90-day nonprofit diagnosis and turnaround in governance, strategy, and board recruitment. But today, I'm not talking strictly about our concierge association management service, which is amazing. I can't wait to speak with you and your board colleagues. I wish you a fantastic day.